Well, what we end up realizing is that this evil genie is capable of deceiving me of many things, right? The evil genie might make me think that people love me when they don't. The evil genie might make me believe that things appear when they actually aren't there, right? As is the case with illusion. The evil genie might be able to deceive me of many, many things. But there's at least one thing that the evil genie can't deceive me of. And here's how the argument works, right? Imagine that we have the evil genie, right? We'll just label him E. And then imagine that here I am, right? Imagine that the evil genie is deceiving me of so many things, right? He's deceiving me of X, Y, Z, right? He's deceiving me of all of these things. The point that Descartes arrives at, and one of the insights that Descartes arrives at, is that if the evil genie is deceiving me of the truth of mathematics, or if the evil genie is deceiving me of the truth of external world, the evil genie might be able to deceive me of many of these things, but insofar as he's deceiving me, I recognize that I must be a thing which is capable of being deceived. I'll say that again, right? Insofar as the evil genie is deceiving me of the truth of mathematics or the truth of the existence of the external world, I recognize that I must be a thing capable of being deceived, right? So whether or not I'm being deceived is no longer of any importance, right? Up until this point, the import was on I was being deceived. Now we can get rid of I am being deceived, right? We can get rid of I am being deceived, and since I recognize that it is I that am being deceived, then there's something that I know for absolute certain, right? There's something that I know for absolute certain, right? It is not important that I am being deceived, and I'm going to change my markers. It's not important that I am being deceived. We can scratch this out, right? We can get rid of the being deceived, and all I have to think about now is the I am, right? I am, I exist. I am a thinking thing, right? I am a thing that thinks. And insofar as I am a thing that thinks, I exist, right? So insofar as I am a thing that thinks, and though my thoughts may be deceived, the one thing that I recognize with absolute certainty, according to Descartes, is that, and I'll just use the gross translation, right? Which is number 4, which is the Cogito, and it's known as Cogito ergo sum. Cogito ergo sum. And the general translation that's always given, so I'm not going to give anything new, is I think, therefore, F-O-R, I am. Right? I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I exist. My thought, right, my process of thinking, my process of deliberation, my process of contemplation, my rational process is the mode of my existence, right? So my rational process, and that's a very sort of essential claim, right? My rational process is the mode of my existence. It is the manner in which I exist, right? So that the idea, to say that something is the mode of your existence, means that you can think of modality or mode as something being continuous, right? If that thing fails to continue, right? If I fail to think, then I fail to exist, right? So the conclusion to this sort of syllogism is that my existence, the conclusion to this syllogism is that my existence is contingent on my ability to perceive, right? My ability to think. For Descartes, hold on a second. That's not in the middle of a video. I'll talk to you later. Alright, bye. So, for Descartes, what Descartes ends up recognizing is that it is thought, right? His ability to perceive, his ability to think, even if that thought is deceived, that allows him to know with absolute certainty what he's looking for, the fundamental truth, the foundational claim, right? For which he's going to build all of his other epistemological and metaphysical claims on, is the Cogito, right? So the Cogito the cogito becomes, this is, I need to erase some of this. The cogito becomes Descartes' foundational claim. Right? It's Descartes' foundational claim. You can go as far as saying that this is an instantiation or a form of a variation of foundationalism, right? Which is basically the claim that the justification for a philosophical argument is based on a fundamental bedrock grounding sort of foundational stance. That foundational stance, that foundational claim, that bedrock claim for Descartes is the cogito. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I exist. I think, therefore I am. Through my process of rational deliberation, I verify, and verify is not the right word, I bring into existence, I manifest my existence, right? So that's number 4 for Descartes. Okay, so then we move on, right? Then we move on. After we get to this idea of the cogito, what we recognize is, well, we still have a huge problem, right? We still have a very big problem, because if it's the case that I now have the cogito, and I now have something that I know with absolute certainty, right? So I have my foundational claim. I've arrived at absolute certainty, but the way that I got to the process of the cogito was through this sort of reductionist argument, right? This process of radical doubt, this process of methodological skepticism, wherein I question the validity, the truth of everything, including my physical body, right? Well, I recognize then that I've made this distinction, right? I have on the one hand the body, right? And the information from the body we've recognized is capable of being flawed, right? So it's flawed. The body, the truth that the body is able to access in the world, extract from the world, is flawed, right? And we saw that because the very first thing that we got rid of was physical substance, right? It was matter. We recognize that our senses can deceive us, and insofar as we are capable of being deceived, we have a huge problem. What was not capable of being deceived was the truth of our sort of mental faculty, because even if it's the case that there's an evil genie deceiving us around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there has to be an I that is the recipient of this deceit. Insofar as there's the I that is the recipient of this deceit, then I recognize that my ability to think is what my ability to think is my modality of existence, right? So that we recognize that there's this mind, right? And this mind is capable of accessing truth. So we have the distinction between the body, which in ancient Greek is soma, and the mind, which is nous, right? So we have the sort of the separation between mind and body, right? So Descartes, through this process of methodological skepticism, Descartes is able to make this distinction in modalities. The modality that we use in order to access truth in the world as physical beings is limited, is flawed, is prone to deceit. Our mental faculty is not flawed, is not prone to mental deceit, as long as we use it properly. However, we still have the idea, we still have the evil genie, right? So at this point, the evil genie still exists. Now, Descartes needs to be able to get rid of the evil genie before he starts reconstructing, before he moves up, right? So we have the reduction through the process of methodological skepticism to get to the cogito. The evil genie still exists, and once we get rid of the evil genie, we can reconstruct, right? We can reconstruct reality with this new interpretation of how things are ordered. How do we get rid of the evil genie? Well, Descartes says there has to be a God, right? There has to be a God that would not allow for the existence of the evil genie.